Welcome everyone. Today I have a build update for a sniper's build for the endgame with Uber bosses. Now looking behind me, notice that this boss is dying rather fast, and this is a Uber boss with a tier 4 trial. And notice over here, sometimes what's going to happen is the boss will go to the second phase and you have to pick up those orbs. And if you do not pick up those on time, you will die. Yes, a little spoiler over here, but what I'm trying to show you guys is this particular build. Look at the first time we fought it over here with my friend Dramkast. He killed the boss after the whole phase. You might be saying, hey, nothing special over here. I can do as much damage as I can, right? So let's have a look at another set of boss fight. And let's have a look at what happened this time. You can actually have so much damage with your snipers, with your minion summoners, that you can skip the boss phase. Yes, over here you can see that the boss did not even get to cast his second phase. We nuked him down within 3 to 4 seconds, so fast that his spells is still casting, he's already dead. And yes, this is gonna be our final, finalized version of the Uber boss slaying and also mapping build for the snipers for the endgame. And you can see, this was before we even changed into the damage set, and that Citadel boss died so fast. And let me just show you guys, when you change onto the damage set, how fast the Citadel boss dies. There's a lot of cool demonstration, and also we think this particular build is pretty mega maxed out. And it does really good damage, right? Now, just to show you guys a little further, here we have the King of the Mist, one of the harder difficulty boss that also drops an uber unique belt that sells for over 30 or 50 divine with the right roll. So similar to before, you can see we get the setup and within 2 seconds the King of the Mist is gone. And yes, it's unavoidable there is a second boss phase which he takes into the shadows and you have to maze a run. But let's have a look at what happens when we come back. So we fought him for 2 seconds, right? And here is the next fight, and the King of the Mist will appear, and firstly he's invulnerable for the first 2 seconds, and then, well, that took another 2 seconds. So in total, this Uber boss took us 4 seconds to kill it, about 30 seconds to run through the maze. And yes, I'm really excited to share this build with you guys because I think it's at a good state that we can do pretty much any content in the game. And I will go through the budgeting of the build and what are the early game items, mid game items you can pick up in this video as well to give you guys a better summary if you want to transition into the build or if you're just starting with this build. Of course, it wouldn't be a complete guide if I don't show you guys how well the build can do with mapping. We will be talking about the mapping gem swapping, which allows you to mold down everything on the map. This is one of the tier, how many tiers is this? This is a tier 18 with the, with the bridge. I was calling Blight. So this is a tier 18 Blight, and yes, my friend did spec into higher Blight difficulties and also better loot because he likes to do Blight. And this build is amazing. One shot pretty much entire wave. Of course the mini AI is a little awkward, but once your skeletons come through to you, you can pretty much one shot everything very quickly. You can see the snipers are global, and even though he's losing a bit of health, guys, he's actually really tanky with this setup as well. So this allows you to do anything with tier 18 plus and also nuking down any bosses in the game for current POE to Uber bosses. So what I'll do is, similar to all of the videos, I'll show you guys all the showcase of going through the map and also fighting through the boss. And as you can see over here with the boss, it dies rather quickly, and most of the time we can skip the phase of the boss. And this will allow you to, save a little bit more time. Now, because the build haven't changed dramatically compared to the previous build with a magic fan setup, I'll also use my previous replays to show you guys the gears that he was using as well. And again, guys, you might say, oh, those gears are so broken, they're so strong. I'll teach you guys how to get beginner gears, mid-tier gears, and also better gears in this video as well. So stay tuned and also use the timestamps. So coming over to our builder's guide, you can see that we have a lot of variants. I'll briefly go through the usage of those variants with you guys. If you're killing the bosses, you go with a physical boss. If you're mapping with this build, you go with mapping. And what you're going to see with this setup is the weapon will change, and also, as you can see over here, the choices of the rare boots and also unique boots will change. And this is a bigger difference. I try to make it easy for you guys. You can also see the choices of the skeleton skills will change. When you're mapping, you're going with fog and also with scatter shot. But if you're going for bosses, you'll be using a different set of spells. And those are the major changes that I want to go through with you guys, and let's briefly go through them. The 6 link snipers, skeleton snipers, against the boss it is Fading Frenzy, Brutality, Martial Tempo, Heft, and also Physical Mastery. Now if you're just mapping, you can take away Physical Mastery and also Martial Tempo and switch them into Scattershot and also Fog. We have tested a lot of variants with chains and with other ways of splitting arrows, but it seems like Fog and also Scattershot is just great for majority of the content. We no longer care if it's a smaller room or bigger room. If you're mapping, you can go with those two supporting skills, and if you're going against the boss, as you can see in the videos, there is a quick swap over here. Now in terms of the rest of skills, nothing dramatic has changed. There are some min and max over here, and I'll continue to update this one as we go further. So Spell Cascade is great. If you haven't seen that, you just get 3 firewalls. And this means as you shoot arrows through the firewalls, you get bonus fire damage, which is pretty nice. Fortress is great, Arcane Tempo, and also Arcane Surge. The Raging Spirits are fully supportive, so Calling Strike, Main, Blind, and also Discombobulate. The Summoning Hellhound is here to armor break while becoming the best tank with high rank. So Splinter, Heavy Swing, and also Demolisher help us to armor break with physical damage, while we're getting more life and also more physical damage with 2 of the masteries that +1 rank. In terms of vulnerability, there's a small change over here with Heightened Curse, Curse Grunt, Inspiration, and also Ritualistic Curse. Now, it is likely the Curse Boom wasn't spreading the curses, and we don't need the curse to spread. So you can go with Curse Grunt and also Ritualistic Curse for a little more effect. It's a small delay, which is fine. Now, for the weapon for the choice, we are going with the Malice weapon just because this will amplify your critical rate of your minions, which will hit harder. If you have a 10 spear reservation, you can use Clarity. If you don't, that's fine as well. For Blink, it is from ability, second weapon set, very important to know. We do have a video under the link. Make sure you learn how to save 60 spirit with Blink. So Ingenuity and also Second Wind are the combos. You can take out Second Wind if you want to blink more frequently. For Pen Offerings, it is the same as before, Persistent, Obligation, Dense Macabre, and also Front of Rage for the highest damage boost. Now, we have talked about this in the previous Skeleton Mage video. It seems like if you can shock enemy consistently, Ball Lightning is one of the best ways with 750% more shock. And this doesn't require any spear reservation for Skeleton Mages with Electric Mage. So going with Stonefire, Conduction, Causing Current, which allows you to spread your shock, and Thunder Lightning Penetration for just a little bit hefty, quicker shock. But it is optional to go with Ball Lightning. Sometimes you can see in my friend's videos, he was hitting it so fast he didn't feel the need for Ball Lightning. A lot of players were asking, how come he's got so many skills of the same skills? Just because he didn't need all the skills. The only 2 skills he casts is pretty much Flame War and also the Curse Ground. Now, the curses, right? Vulnerability, and that's it. He doesn't need to do anything. So you might be wondering, why are you showing me so many skills when he's not using it? Because my friend Dramkast actually did not prefer to have that many skills. He's like, no need. But yes, to me and Max, you'll deal 20% more damage because the enemies, when they're shocked with Stonefire, will take 20% more damage. And yes, you can set enemies on Ignite on fire with your Summoning Hellhound, and Raging Spirit can help a little bit as well. Now in terms of the pathings for the passive trade, nothing major has changed. The one note you want to notice is that we also path 2 point over here. You might be saying, hey, why do you need defense for the shield? Well, this is when you should watch the previous videos. Yes, in the previous video, if you look at my spirit over here, you can see I have 556 spirit. And I have a little further now, actually 1 further. So what is happening is you got to pick up on this particular jewel. This gives me tons of spirit. Let me show you guys also. 495. I put this in. This gives me 557. So every big knot that is picked within the radius will give me 12 spirit and 3% bonus strength. Look at how much strength I have, and I can go even further. So make sure you watch the previous video, which will also use information and also data from the previous video. Everything is here to teach you guys how to get over 500, 600, or even 750 maximum spirit, and how to get over 35 skill ranks or even 37 mini skill ranks using this particular combo. And it is amazingly powerful, and this is why the bosses, when they appear, they die in seconds. This is a dramatic boost of damage, and this will be ideal for any endgame summoners or any build that requires more spirit. Now, as for the rest of the passives, you can see there isn't a huge difference. And yes, if you guys are not sure about the second weapon swap, please come over to any of the videos. You can see the most important things are highlighted on the top of the video, so you can see what you need to pick up. Now, I do want to mention again, during mapping, you're using those grave bind, and this allows your minion kills to count as your own kills, which in return, socketing for those gems with 2% mana on kill will greatly enhance your survivability with mind over matter. And having over 2000 mana really helps because you're consistently gaining over 200 or 300% mana, because every jewel you can see with socketing has 2% mana on kill. If you can't find 2% mana on kill, you can find 1% as well, and that also helps. So those are the bigger highlights of the build in terms of the skill passives. And once you understand this, swapping between the gears will allow you to have stronger curses, way more duration, way more effect, and also bigger radius, and also special abilities to debuff enemies while you casting your curse. So coming over here, you can see how to swap weapons and how to make better AI, and also a lot of related things under the video. Now, because majority of the gears were similar compared to the previous Magic Find video, and yes, in case you guys didn't know, we do have a Magic Find version of the build, and this means you can get anywhere from 250 to 450% Magic Find. I'll be making guides on how effective Magic Find is, because it seems to be giving us a lot more currencies, especially for my friend, getting a lot more better jobs and earning a lot of divines because of this for 250 Magic Find and also 450. So make sure you check out those variants, because those rings and those particular items can give you a lot more jobs from the bosses or from, other part of the map, which can be dramatically great once you have the gears mega maxed out. Now here, briefly going through some of the most important part of the build that is upgraded. So those particular sockets, if you don't know how to buy them, come back to this previous video. There is a timestamp to show you how to get those timeless jewels. It is very tricky and it takes a little time. It took me about a few hours, not like right away, maybe every 10 minutes, every 3 hours I spent 10 minutes to filter for those gems, and it did take me 1 to 2 days to actually find a good one. So make sure you look at those notes to understand how to get a jewel like that. My friend bought this one for about 11 divine at the time. It only has plus 10 spirit. I did buy a little better one later because I spent a little longer to pick this up. The highest you can roll is going to be 12 spirit. And together with the notes over here, I can get 60 more spirit because of that, and even more bonus strength. A cheaper one like this will give you also a lot of spirit, at least 50 spirit, which is also really good. Now you can see that during most of the fights, my friend Dramkast have about 510 spirit, and that is already enough to take down most of the bosses. So you don't need dramatically higher spirit. You can see even in some settings, he actually didn't adjust for the maximum spirit. And you can see here he's got, how much is that? Over here you can see he's got 460-ish of the spirit. So yes, once you go over 500, what we really want to focus is actually getting higher skill ranks of the minions, which will help you to have a more multiplicity magnitude. So +5 here, +2 here, and if you can get a +3 on the amulet, those are really good. So here's the next highlight. What do you want to pick up for your weapon? One of the biggest things is you want to get increasing spirit at least 27-25%. So this just made the mark. You want to quality 20 this. This is my friend Dramkast's weapon, by the way. If you can get minions in your presence deal more damage, additional physical damage, that is really good. Additional critical chance is great, and of course you need the +5. So +5, highest spirit first, and then any physical damage, any more damage, any critical hit is great. And then follow from that, any mana regen, any strength is good. Even mana is also good. You can see my current weapon, I bought this one for 5 divine, which definitely is a small bargain. Not the best one, again 27% spirit, +5 to minions, and 10 to 13 flat damage. I did not get the other good rolls, but Dramkast bought this one for about, I think 13 divine, so it is not cheap. You can, again, guys, I have all the filters, and I do know that some of you has been asking me, hey Matt, we don't have the currency for a god tier item, we can't follow your build. But look at the links I've made for you guys in this document. The document will be in the video, so if you scroll down, you can see all the documents over here. You go into the document, every link over here will show you the starting up uniques like those one for additional spirit. This will cost you 1 divine, 1 exalt, not 1 divine. And this is a very basic starter. And here I have cheaper variants that allows you to just pick up items for much cheaper, and everything is filtered for you guys. So please don't think that I'm trying to get you to build the most expensive build. Look at this, +4, 35%, 3 exalt, 7 exalt, 7 exalt. And here, those cheaper setup, +3, 3 exalt, +3 with a lot of mana, 40 exalt. So those are already made for you, additional minions, skill rank, one exalt, one exalt. So make sure you follow those links and use it to your great advantage. This is how we pick up good gears. This is how you pick up cheaper gears, and everything's over here. Look at this. All the cheap ones at the start, the more expensive ones as you filter them, say +4, +5, everything related to the helmet, the chest, the unique items, and the darkness jewels. Everything is made for you guys over here, so you can start this build at any stage of the game. And please don't come to me and say, Matt, we can't afford the build. Yes, you start with a basic setup first, and then you slowly progress through the build. This build took my friend 2 weeks to farm this up, right? So you can't expect you to have the same build in like 1 or 2 days. And this is how you can start, and everything's ready for you guys to have a look. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that which of the anointed buffs you can get for the build. One of the cheaper ones you can get is this one. This cost me less than 3 exalt when I was getting those, because those greed, guild, and greed are so cheap. But I do believe my friend also went for deflection. The deflection is much more expensive. So if you guys were getting deflection, this will cost you a few divines, so keep that in mind. I don't think this is that cheap, but you do get a higher block chance. And basically what you can see over here is this is a cheaper alternative that I'm currently using, and those seem to be working fine for me. But my friend did get his block rate to 74%, and this is a big factor for you to survive in the end game as well. Now, in order to explain the rest of the gears, because we explained this in previous video, I also show you guys those part of the video, and you can see that there is a magic fund setup. One of the reasons we want to have magic fund setup is, again, if you start killing the boss really fast in under 1 to 2 seconds, you think about how do you get better loots. So if you're watching this part now, this is also related to magic fund. So the 4th and also the 3rd variant over here on the builder's guide should show you how to get better magic fund, which will help you to get extra divines, better loots, even uber unique items that sells for a lot of currencies. So make sure you see this part for those additional changes. Now, before we jump over to the skill rotations, which is quite simple because everything does, let's briefly talk about the potential of using other skills and combinations. This particular setup is amazing and very powerful in the late game. In the future, I'll be planning to update you guys with my rotation of different auto casting auras like vulnerability and also enfeeble. I'll also look into using minions like the skeleton warriors, or minions like the skeleton mages, minions like the skeleton priest, which can give you a more versatility and also more array of choice of minions. But I'll be testing that for you guys first before sharing that one, so you don't get debated, of course. Right now, by the looks of it, just having skeleton minions is by far one of the highest damage dealing method. And you guys can see from the demonstrations, my friend only has skeleton archers, and at the time I believe he has 29 skeleton archers, and that one-shots most of the bosses within 1 to 2 seconds. If they have a phase, sometimes we can skip the phase, which makes you extremely safe, because, well, the boss is not doing anything when they're dying fast, right? Which is really fun and really good to play for any of the content in the game. And over here, he's farming the King of the Mist. He actually found a uber unique belt, but I believe he later sold it. And imagine if he did the last gambling method, he could have got some really good items, right? So yes, once you can start farming uber bosses, a lot of good items will come for you, and this is when you get even better items as you play more content. So briefly going through the skill rotation of the build, you're using the variant for the mapping with Scattershot and also Fog, which allows you to mow down maps very quickly. And here what you can see is, right before the boss, I guess here he actually forgot to swap. You swap for physical mastery, you swap for the martial tempo for better attack speed, and then you can mow down the boss even quicker for a boss slaying setup. Those are the basic adjustments you can have. Of course, against stronger bosses or even like bosses that you want to take down even quicker, you should be using this particular variant. And over here, oh, what did I do? And over here, those are the variants that you use against the boss. Those pair of boots and better stats on the rear gloves. Now, in terms of the boss fights, most of the case is very simple. You lay the curse scrum before the boss is summoned. Because you have a second weapon swap, you have a massive radius, and the curse will stay on the ground, so when the boss comes in, they get automatically cursed. And while this time, you cast your flame wall, and then you spike your minions with the pen ritual. And then that's it, you just watch the boss die. And it dies so fast, you don't have to do much. And again, once you finish the phases of the bosses, or actually skip a little too fast, you again make the setup, do the curse, do the ritual, and wait for the boss to come. And when it comes, the snipers will take care of the boss within 1 to 3 seconds, which is actually amazing. Now in terms of mapping, if you're running too fast, your minions may lag behind, and sometimes this is a problem because they have to get revived. And I guess that is the only downside for the minion builds for me at the moment. It's just that minions do not get resummoned like this that easily. So finally, if you guys didn't know, we do have a way to improve minion AI a little bit. So make sure you watch that previous video that will be also in the links over here that will improve your minion AI, which allows you to resummon minions on top of the boss and also on top of certain objectives, which is very important because if your minions are disappearing and something like this happens, you don't have minions, you need to resummon them fast and then get it going to push for the maps or take down bosses even faster. So what I do now is I'll showcase you guys this variety of demonstrations against a number of different Uber bosses and also Pinnacle bosses. Together with the demonstration of the tier 18 mapping with the bridge, you can see everything's related to the build. And at the end of the video, should you want to see the previous setup for my friend, you can see all the links and also choices of the gems. And this way, you guys can also use the timestamps below to see every bit of content you want to check out for the build.
The sands of time wait for no one.
Temple magic.
A small victory, but your war, your
Now, before we finish, if you guys haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so because I'll be looking into the latest Path of Exile 2 news on different communities and also on our official forum, official webpage. I'll also be looking into the best build for each of the class as the meta develops with the Chinese and also the English community. So stay tuned for the latest update and also guides for Path of Exile 2. And of course, this is gonna be a big month for us. And I'll try to bring you guys all of the latest content and also guides for Path of Exile 2 to come.